Today's episode of Crime Crazy is brought to you by Audible. Now, fans of Crime Crazy Podcast can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/crimecrazy. They have over 180,000 titles to choose from, and you can listen on your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, or your MP3 player. www.audibletrial.com/crimecrazy.
Ooh. I had a cold chill.
Welcome to Crime Crazy, the weekly true crime podcast with Aaron Plime and
Jordan Middleton,
where we prove that
we know absolutely nothing about our legal system, but
we're still crazy for a good true crime story.
I added a word to mine because I only remembered the but. I was going to say it all and trick you, but I was like, but no, that's all I got.
Where it ended.
Oh, man.
Jordan, this is episode 20.
I cannot believe that. That means we've been doing this for 20 weeks. You know what I mean? Like meeting, which we've met more than 20 weeks.
Well, yeah, I see you a lot.
Well, I know that, but just saying, it's like crazy.
But this is 20. That's just crazy to me.
It's like
that
not
was like
real.
When I first started researching for the podcast, like how to do a podcast. It's like, you need to get to episode 20. That's the big milestone. I was like, yeah, but that'll be like months and months and months away. I don't even know if we'll stick with it that long.
It passed so fast.
It went so fast. I feel like we're just starting our podcast. Like every time we record an episode, it's like, well, this is only one of our first ones.
Yeah, I know. We're going to keep doing that. It's going to be like episode 100. And we're like, no, it's still just one of our first ones.
Right, we're still learning the sound equipment.
Yeah, I know. Well, today you did an excellent job setting up our sound.
I got it right on the first try. Except for the part where we forgot to turn on the microphone.
Oh, well, don't say we. You have a mouse in your pocket? Because I had my mic on.
Wow. Throw me under the bus.
Oh, but it's okay. You got all the buttons right. That's the important part.
I got all the buttons and dials right.
Because I would never get any of them right. See?
Well, after a while, you would. I put all of my notes for the past, like, episode 19 and 20 on the same file. So now I'm trying to find.
No.
Okay, here we are.
No, I wrote mine out this morning.
Any more scratchy letters from dogs barking and making a jump?
I just kept writing the wrong word. Like, I would read the word, and I'd go to write it, and it would be a completely different word. And I was like, where am I in the world? And I would scribble it out and rewrite it.
I did not have that issue because I typed mine.
See, I'm not good at typing like that. I need to, like, read it and write it down so that I remember what I was thinking when I wrote it down. Mm-hmm. I was always that way in school, too.
See, my problem is that I always decide that I want to tell the story in a different order than I'm reading it. Mm. So I want to go back and rearrange stuff, which is much harder to do when you've written it down. So when I write it down, I tend to write it like 4 or 5 times, which is just, that's overkill.
Oh, no. I just try to start out with the earliest information the story gives me and then bring it forward.
Chronological.
I try to do that. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Right.
Or I need to, like, jump around a little bit to make sense.
Right.
So, well, yeah, I guess I try to do that.
So now that you all know our process.
Yeah, guys, sorry. Whatever.
So we had talked about doing something fun. I think we were going to say it at the end, but we're going to say it now.
That's fine.
Something fun for episode 20.
Yes.
And what we have decided is that we would like some audience participation.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is episode 20, so if they've stuck with us this long.
It's true.
I feel like it's an easy task.
So we want you to take a picture of yourself or a screenshot of whatever you use to listen to the podcast on. And post it on whatever social media you like.
Yeah.
So we're being really easy about this, guys.
Yeah, really.
Wide open. But tag us and then also use the hashtag
CrimeCrazy20.
Right. And then we will look at all of the pictures that you guys send and pick a bunch and send you some stickers and fun stuff.
Wouldn't it be funny if we sent them, like, other things? Like, here's an onion.
Yeah, I found this skewer in my drawer, and this is a chopstick. I don't know why I'm picking like thin wooden.
I picked an onion, so
yours is a terrible idea.
But I feel like, couldn't you just send an onion with some postage on it? Wouldn't they take it?
I don't know.
You could send a potato.
There are things that you can send.
So then once we pick a few,
onion.
No. Oh, I think I would send an onion. I'd try anyways. My thing was, I guess we would have to pick a few
and then
contact people, and then we'd have to contact them for their mailing address.
It's true. We didn't work out all the kinks before we started.
But that's okay, because then if they do the hashtag CrimeCrazy20, that's like putting yourself all in one little box so we can find you.
That's right. That's not creepy at all.
I mean, if you want a sticker, it's worth it.
It's true.
Jump in the box.
It's true. Can you tell we really like our stickers?
I know we do. They're just good quality, and you can put them anywhere.
It's true. I've got one on my car and one on my phone.
I have one on my car. I have a bunch.
Yeah.
You gave me a whole sheet of the baby stickers.
Oh, yeah, I did.
So I still have a bunch.
We won't send you the baby stickers. They're really just labels that I printed our logo.
But they're cute. They're bababies.
They are. They are cute. I was bored at work. I mean, I don't do things like that at work. That's crazy. Okay, so episode 20.
Yep.
You ready to get started?
I am.
I have 2 stories this week.
I'm excited.
Oh, but we didn't talk about this last time, but is there any story you didn't choose for today?
Yes, there is. But because it just happened like within the last 2 weeks, so I kind of want to wait a little bit longer to see what more like information comes forward, because they're still, I mean, not to give a spoiler alert, but spoiler alert, they're still removing body pieces out of the ground, like as of yesterday.
Is it local?
No.
Oh, I haven't heard about.
I mean, it's in like the United States, but it's not local to us.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so they're still doing that, and I want to make sure that
all the information,
and I want to know, like, you know, what the bad guy gets as far as sentencing. And
right. That might take a long time. That might be episode 120.
I feel like he got arrested on weird things just to arrest him. You know what I mean?
So they would have him.
Yeah. And then they kind of like put the bail so high so he wouldn't get out.
Yeah.
So they kind of just have him there until they get all their ducks in a row so they can be like, actually, we're going to charge you with these things. So I'm just waiting for that at least.
Gotcha.
Because I have a feeling it's going to be like a open and close type case.
Right. But, well, and still no word on the skeleton from across the river. There was something kind of interesting that I don't know if this happens routinely. I had never thought about it. But last time we were podcasting, when we made David and the baby go away.
Oh, yeah.
They were down county a little bit, and they had just stopped at, they like to go to the pet store and like look at all the animals, right? It's like going to a zoo because there's no zoo here.
Yeah.
And Sophie's afraid of the ducks, so they couldn't go to the park. So, the guy asked if they were going to be headed south, and David was like, well, yeah, maybe we're just kind of doing whatever. And he said, well, don't go down there, because they are doing they're not a reenactment, but like staging an accident. They were like reenacting the accident that had happened because there was a fatality.
Oh, yeah.
And so they were getting new cars and playing it out and trying to figure out exactly what happened, which I didn't realize that they did that. It makes sense. It just never occurred to me.
When I left, because I have to go that way.
Yeah, that's true.
It was mostly cleared up.
Right.
But everyone thought it was like a
new accident.
A fresh accident. But it was only state police, and I was like, guys, I think you would realize that if it was an if it was an actual accident, I don't think the only 2 state troopers that live in town would be the only cops to show up when the whole town, everybody's a search and rescue and cop and volunteer and everything. So I know Mike was like, please be careful. And I was like, I don't think it's anything serious.
No, apparently they were
just last time,
playing it out.
I didn't tell you this.
Uh-oh.
I got pulled over last week.
Oh, yep.
It was scary.
Yeah.
And it was bad because all I could think of was live PD, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna see that I'm shaking, because I have such weird anxiety with cops. Even though I've never done anything bad in my life, it just makes me scared. And I was like, he's gonna see that I'm shaking and think I have something. So I turned the car radio down, and I left my little blinker on because I couldn't find my hazards.
Oh my God.
I was that nervous. And I just sat there with my hands on my lap until he asked me what he wanted. And I go to hand him my license, and the 20 slips out. And I said, I'm not trying to give that to you. I really need that. So then I take the 20 back, and he's chuckling, and I'm like, okay.
So I guess it's a good sign if you make him laugh instead of make him yell.
I made him laugh a lot because it was because of my tags. And I was like, I'll be honest with you, I had a smaller car. And that was good until October. And then I switched it in and got this big car because I have really big dogs that don't fit in the small car. And I said, I was still thinking October. And he was like, okay, you can do this.
This lady's crazy.
And I was like, and then I said, damn. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse. And then I think that's the funniest part. Everyone can laugh at that. Because I was just like, I did not curse. What the? Like, okay. So when I was telling our friend Mike about this at the gym, I was just like, and I'm like, who the fuck am I kidding? I would have been like, whatever, sorry. But I think I was just so scared, and I was trying to be so respectful, and he could tell I was really worried. But he's like, I said, I could just do this online? And he was like, yeah. And I said, I'll do it today. Right. So I did, and I screenshotted the receipt and everything just in case I needed it with me at all times. And then when I got to the gym, the only place open parking spot-wise was right next to a cop car.
Oh, so yeah, but if you had it, like when they look it up in the system, they'd be able to tell that you had done it.
Oh, okay.
So it's because I know that because with my old car, I got pulled over like probably 5 or 6 times.
Oh my God.
For expired tags because we had even done them on time, but DMV sent them to the wrong address. They sent them to like an old P.O. box. Well, we had updated that address. We'd updated it with DMV. We had been in a bunch of times to talk to, and it didn't matter. They kept, they sent it like 4 or 5 times. We had to pay extra money for it to be delivered again, and they kept sending it to the wrong address. So finally, like one of the times I got pulled over, I got like they were behind me, and I was in a city and I didn't know where I was, and so the only place I could see to stop was this parking lot, and I pull into the parking lot and I'm like, oh my God, it's a fire station, I'm blocking the door. So, but they always, when they would get to the car, they'd say, okay, well, I was pulling you over for your tags, but once I looked it up, I saw they're up to date, but you need to put the stickers on. I'm like, well, let me tell you the story about DMV.
I don't have no stickers.
Yeah. So.
One time I got pulled over in David's car because his tags were out.
Uh-oh.
And Sarah and I were like, so I said, and they were like, can I have license registration? I gave him my license and David's registration. And I was like, as you can tell, this is not my car, but he knows I have it. Like, I live there. And Sarah's like, oh my God.
You stole a car.
I know. I was like, man, I'm not that smart. Let's just leave me alone. I went to go pick up my friend. We're going back home.
Right. We're headed there right now. You want to come?
I know. So that was funny. But anyway.
That's like the scariest thing, though, is just getting pulled over. Because I don't ever do anything else that could get me in trouble except things in a car.
And I knew I wasn't speeding because I saw him the entire time. So I was literally going 56 just to be like, I'm not a goody, don't think that. Right. But I'm not too bad to where I'm going to go 60 next to you. But then he started being in my blind spot, and I knew he was, like, reading my tags.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it. All right. Anyway, I'm done talking about it. It's making me nervous again.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
Okay. So you're going first this time.
I am. Okay. So I have another story. It's actually kind of similar to the one that I did last time because it takes place in an inn.
Oh, yeah.
But so we recently got back from the beach, and I was there with my sister who lives out of state, like far away. She lives in Wisconsin, the most random place in the world.
Cool.
And she was talking about she had recently taken a vacation with a friend, and they went out to Oregon, and I guess I didn't pay good enough attention, but on one leg of their trip, they had made reservations at this inn to stay. It's a really tiny little, like, bed and breakfast size inn, and family owned and cute and whatever else. Before they got there, she looked it up to find out if there was something nearby that they needed. The only thing that came up in the article or in the like on her internet search was this murder that took place in the inn.
Oh my God.
And
what a way to find out.
She didn't tell her friend until after they had left because there was nothing else in the area, and she was afraid that if she told her, they stayed there because there's nothing else. She was afraid if she told her, the friend would be like, well, we're not staying there, and then they have nowhere to go. So
If that was me and I was that friend, I'd be like, I'm never vacationing with you again.
Can't trust you.
No.
So before I start reading this, I have been asked by her to convey a message. I was like, I'm going to do that one on the podcast. It's really funny. Mm-hmm. It's not funny. It's really funny that you know of a crime.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm supposed to tell you. Let's see. Make sure that you give a shout out to how awesome the innkeepers are.
Okay.
It was quaint and clean and comfortable. She highly recommends it despite the murder, which didn't occur while she was there. I mean, it was in the past. She said when she went to check in, they gave her a hug, and when they left, the guy gave her a card and said if they needed anything to call, and if they got too far away, they had friends in California they could call, and like just wanted to take care of everybody. Really friendly, but not in a creepy way. Like in a nice. Jordan's giving me this look like actually that sounds kind of creepy.
I've never been to a place where they come and give me a hug when I'm checking in.
But I get the feeling it was like this little
old lady.
Yeah, like little family
like
friendly.
Grandma.
Yeah. Got to take care of these two girls traveling on their own.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe they're overcompensating because of the murder.
Exactly the point. No, I'm just kidding. I'd probably hug them back. I'd just be freaked out.
Right. Well, yeah. And then you'd be like, well, that was weird.
And there's like stray cats roaming around. No, I'm just kidding.
Stray cats. There's some dogs cut up in the basement. All right. So, the best part about this story is the name of the inn.
Better than last time's?
Uh-huh. It's called the Itty Bitty Inn. Isn't it cute?
Oh my God.
So the Itty Bitty Inn is in Coos County.
Wait, is that where the spider lives? Like the
That's
itsy bitsy? I know, but if an itsy bitsy spider lived in an itty bitty inn,
that would be adorable, and you're weird.
Guys, I'm coining that. That's my new book. Continue.
Okay, on that note, so there are two people involved in this story.
Okay.
They are Ronald Wayne Ambill and David Marion Barker. Okay. So David Marion Barker was an alcoholic. He was in a program for alcoholism, but he found like a loophole. I think it was a court-ordered program, but he found like this loophole that allowed him to leave on the weekends. Like he didn't have to stay there full time. So he would go and he would check into an inn, clever. Usually the Itty Bitty Inn, get wasted off his ass, and then just go back on Monday and go back into the program, and that counted. So he was not a recovering alcoholic. He was very much an active alcoholic.
A secretive alcoholic.
He was also a chain smoker, and he also was wheelchair bound.
Oh, wow.
Which is sort of important. So Ambill was just a dude that was also staying at the inn, and they didn't really know each other or anything like that. And so one day in room 4...
4.
They found...
I don't know why that was funny.
I don't know either.
Because I feel like they only have like 5 rooms.
Right.
So
this
it's
is
like
room 4.
4.
Right. Well, it's, 20% of the rooms have had murders. So...
That's horrible. I'm sorry.
One day, they found Barker's body in his room. So here is what happened. Somebody had beaten Barker into semi-consciousness, and then they had taken a knife and stabbed him a whole bunch of times. They said at least 4 of the stabs were fatal, like would have been fatal.
Yeah.
They sliced his throat all the way through, so you could see the bones in the back of his neck. Yeah, his spinal column. And somebody had cut or had done cuts on his abdomen in a pattern that looked like a star or maybe a pentagram or an asterisk or some sort of symbol. So maybe not anything specific, but just like, I'm going to make a symbol. Like they were playing with the body or with the person before he was a body. Ugh. And spread tufts of Barker's hair around the room. So
they cut his hair off to do that?
Or ripped it out or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Since they couldn't find Ambill, and witnesses had seen them going to buy liquor together and then seen Amble pushing Barker's wheelchair back into the room like the day before. They immediately said he was a suspect.
Yeah.
It turns out he had taken off right after the killing and he'd gone hitchhiking, like trying to get out of the area. But when he heard that he was the prime suspect or like a person of interest in the case, he turned himself in. And he said he only was turning himself in to share what he knew about the murder to be helpful.
Oh.
But they found blood on his backpack and he was the last person to see him alive. And so, he'd been seen pushing him back into the room. And so they decided that he was in fact guilty and sentenced him to 25 years.
Jeez.
And he protested the whole time or has since, that he is innocent and he doesn't know how he ended up there. He was just trying to be helpful. He didn't have anything to do with it.
He even turned himself in.
Which I think he probably figured was, his
best bet.
Right. Like, if I turn myself in, they'll never believe that I did it.
Oh, yeah. Like putting yourself into the investigation, so it's like you're trying to stay close to it.
Yes, so that you know what's going on. Well, here's the really damning thing that probably convinced the jury, is they had a witness that testified that Amble he'd been having trouble getting a job, and he was unemployed, and he was really frustrated about it, and he'd made a comment that he was going to do something so he could get locked up. And then not long after that, guy turns up dead. He's covered in blood.
And he turned himself in.
Turns himself in.
He wanted to go in.
Yeah, so he may have wanted a bed and occasional hot meals of bologna, depending on which jail you're in.
Wow.
So that happened. They did not stay in room 4.
Thank God.
I think they were in room 2, but I don't know why I think that. But anyway, they didn't stay in 4. However, I'm sure they were very close to 4 because I don't think there's anything very far from
1 through
4.
5.
That's right. So.
That's crazy.
How crazy is that? And I'm sure we have stayed in places where there have been murders or been places, but you don't know it. And it's not this cute little
I did know about it because when Mike and I were looking at a house, I said, I want you to know. I said, I didn't pick this house for us to look at. The realtor picked this house. I said, but little does she know, I know someone died in this house.
Oh.
And he was like, all right, well, how'd they die? And I was like, I don't know. It wasn't murder, but they still died.
How did you know they died?
Well, because I knew the family of the person who died.
Not like, I know, I can feel someone died in this
house.
Oh,
no. I have weird feelings like that, but I knew the house.
Gotcha.
And I knew someone had died in it. So I was like, I don't know. This will always be that family's house with that person who died in it, and that's why they probably don't want the house anymore.
Right.
Probably that makes sense. Move on. But I just told him, I said, I don't know, because I am a firm believer that souls will get trapped where they're most comfortable, and if that's where she lived her life and raised kids and did all these things and died, I feel like she's gonna stay there.
And instead, you bought a house with a guy in the attic.
I know, but I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, that's good. There's not really a guy in Jordan's attic.
But if you're ever at my house, you'll hear what sounds like our footsteps upstairs all the time.
Right.
To the point where sometimes the dogs will look up at the ceiling like, is Dad home? Like, is someone here?
Oh my gosh, that's so creepy.
Yep.
I don't think anyone has died in this house. But it's also not very old. Although your house isn't very old.
Mm-mm. There's only one owner before us, and they weren't there for very long.
Right. The owners before us in this house were here for a while, but like the wife and the kids left the guy, I think. And so it's not. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's my itty bitty end story.
That's crazy.
So.
Thank God they made it out alive.
Well, I mean, it's
Just
not
kidding.
like he was going to come back and randomly kill someone else.
What if he did? That would be his home. That's his hunting grounds.
He's in jail.
But what if he got out?
Just escaped?
Yeah.
And ran back to the itty bitty inn to kill somebody.
It would happen.
So that he could go to jail.
It would happen.
That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, man.
All right, what's your story?
Okay, so I shortened mine down a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean probably a lot of it. But there's just so much, and I've been wanting to do this story for so long.
Is this the OG story?
Yes!
Yay!
So this is, and it was kind of funny because he was kind of like a 1920s gangster, and it's our 20th episode.
Awesome.
So I kind of liked it. But
I'm gonna spill.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's like gymnastics going on over here.
Gymnastics.
Wow, that was
funny.
bad.
What?
Gymnastics?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
What? Isn't that what you're drinking?
Yeah, but it's a horrible pun. You should be fired.
What? I think that's a pretty good pun. Oh, David, you're not even listening.
And the dog is fast
I
asleep.
need help. Okay, well.
I apologized for our puns last time.
What puns?
All of our puns about, like, all the names.
Oh.
Like, yours was a crabby something.
I loved it. It's like Snakey didn't do it.
Right?
And Crabby Pants.
And the BBB&B.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like it.
And our 5 minutes of going
I forgot about that. That's
right.
funny. Okay, so this is about
I'm excited.
Bugsy. Who, guys? I will let you know.
Thugsy?
Bugsy.
Bugsy. Sorry.
So his real name was Benjamin Siegel. I always want to
Siegel.
say Seagal, but it's Siegel.
Like the bird.
Yeah.
Nice.
Siegel.
What's his name?
So his real name is Benjamin Siegel, but
Okay.
he's like more famously known as Bugsy. So we'll get into that.
Okay, yeah, I would never want to be known as Bugsy.
We
Although
will get
I
into
guess
that.
I always call my niece Bug. Like that's
Bug.
we've always
yeah.
called her Bug, but still.
Yeah. Well,
Bugsy.
hopefully not for this, how he got this nickname.
Oh no, probably not.
I don't think so. I've met her.
It's more because her name starts with a B, so it's like Betsy Bug.
It just
works.
went.
Right.
So, a little backstory. He was born in 1906. He was the son of Jewish immigrants, and he was pretty much in his early childhood, and like he was raised in a crime-ridden area of Williamsburg, New York City. So, but he spent a lot of time in like Brooklyn.
Williamsburg, New York.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Which I think now, I'm going to be so wrong, I think it's actually like a really nice area. But back then it really wasn't because there were just a lot of Irish and Italian gangs.
Gotcha.
And that was the time of gangs with everything going on.
Sure.
So as a teenager, he started his crime life real early. I don't know why I think this is funny. He extorted money from like pushcart peddlers offering protection, but the protection was
God.
like from his gang, I guess.
Right.
So, I don't know why I think that's so clever.
But isn't that kind of a thing? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we're going to beat you up, or you can give us... I mean, isn't
Well,
that what
it's like you can give me your money, or that gang's going to beat you up. So
Right.
I'm going to keep them off of you, so just keep giving me money.
Right, but it was his own gang.
But I'm almost positive it was... Well, I mean, because he wasn't in a gang yet, but it was... Like, yeah, you were. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm like so weird about
So
this story.
a pushcart peddler would be like today, like a hot nuts vendor or that's all I can think of, or like a hot dog vendor.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, it's going to sound dirty. So,
So he offered protection to them.
or like a flower cart.
But most of his life was the whole like prohibition thing.
Yeah.
So he was also like very helpful with bootlegging and smuggling and stuff like that.
Prohibition was really great for organized crime.
Oh yeah. That's what it. Oh yeah. It thrived.
Right.
So let's see. Let's jump a little bit ahead. In 1918, he befriended this fellow bad boy, essentially in the same town. Lansky was his last name. He and Bugsy decided to join forces and start Bugsmeyer Gang. That's their name because his first name was Meyer.
But have
Or
we
Mayor?
determined
Mayor?
yet
Mayor?
how he became Bugsy?
We are going to get there.
Oh, okay. I was
So-
like, maybe I've missed a part of the story.
Oh, no, we're getting there.
Okay.
That has to come later on because that's just the way it fit.
Okay.
Because he wasn't really famous yet.
Okay.
But then, like, once he started getting famous, people were interviewed about him and, like, questioned and stuff, and that's when it came to light. So, this group, I guess they were a bunch of Jewish mobsters,
Okay.
and they decided to get a group of other guys together and become contract killers, and they named themselves Murder Inc.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's kind of badass.
I I know. I was like, and it's funny because when I'm writing Murder Inc., I'm thinking Monster Inc., and I'm like, that's such a great movie. And I'm like, this is nothing like that.
No.
So then
that's an awfully obvious name for your murder cohort.
But I think it was all not okay back then. But I think it was only spoken to people who were also organized crime.
But if you were going to hire somebody to murder somebody, would you go with the super corporate sounding company?
I think that sounded more straightforward, like they're going to get the job done. It's in their title. I think that's how it was.
Crime's really easy to solve because like there's a logo left at every crime
and they kind of already knew about Lanksy and Bugsy, like separately. Mm-hmm. But Bugsy was like getting more prominent in this crime world as the years progressed, to the point where everyone started knowing his name, type thing. So I think it was one of those things like, oh no, that's his. Yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
Okay.
So that was
I'd hire an unknown hitman.
I think then it's kind of like, I feel like you knew everybody who was like in organized crime. But I think it was just how they did it.
Gotcha.
You know, because, like, I wouldn't know because I was never, but, you know, I mean, like, I wouldn't know a murderer to go to be like, do this murder for me. Like, I wouldn't know that. But I feel like if you're in that world, like, you know everybody who's there.
I guess so.
I feel like that's how it is. It's just like,
God, I hope I'm never in a situation where I feel like I need to hire a contract killer.
Go to Murder Inc.
Yeah, no, I hope I don't ever have to do that.
Well, apparently a lot of people did, because I think he got really famous off of that.
Oh my God. Again, if you're a murderer, fame is not what you're going for.
I know. So, which leads me to my next point. During the 1920s, the mafia, like kingpin Charles Lucky Luciano, which was really, really popular. Most people know his name.
That is actually one that I recognize.
See? And a number of other Italian gangsters, which Luciano was actually from Sicily, so that makes him Sicilian, not Italian. And that's a big difference.
Well, was he just faking it, or they just didn't care?
I don't know. I don't know if they cared back then. I feel like they did, though, because
now I want pizza.
Do you want Italian pizza or Sicilian pizza?
I don't really like red sauce, so neither.
Oh my God. All right, moving on. But they decided to form a national crime like syndicate. Like they
just make it even more official.
So, and with that, they were like, we need Bugsy.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna you gotta have Murder Inc.
They're kind of like headhunting now,
right?
Like, I need this guy.
He didn't even have to turn in a resume.
I know.
They were like,
it was just his name alone.
Only.
They were like, no, I need him. So he got the nickname Bugsy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was like, I knew I'd get to this point. For his volatile nature. So they said, and I put a little side note, that he really hated his nickname, which made me think of Honest Abe. You know what I mean? Like, because it's always like, oh, that was his nickname, but I always hear that he actually didn't like that.
Right.
So I'm like, man, that would suck to go your whole life known as one nickname that you really
that you don't
hated.
Like. Right.
So in an interview, he was like, my friends call me Ben, and he was like, people that don't know me call me Mr. Whatever. He said, and people that I don't like call me Bugsy.
Ooh.
So I was like, oh shit, that's like a taunt. Like, if you call me that,
right,
I'm coming for you.
Right.
He was said to get the nickname for his violent temper and mercurial, I always have a hard time saying that word, personality. I know, it's a nice word. I just always trip over it.
Like, he was always bugging out, or he was
so
easily
they said
bugged?
They described him as crazy as a bed bug. So that's why they started calling him Bugsy, because he was so unpredictable and crazy. And I'm thinking back then,
that is such a stretch.
But bed bugs back then were
Would've
probably
been a big issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So they probably were crazy. If you wanted to call a bug, I feel like they are. Like, what are you doing in my bed? Get out! What are you, crazy?
I think like a cricket would be crazy.
Why?
Hopping around and making weird
noises.
They
can't walk.
They can walk.
What?
It's a little.
Why
awkward.
would you walk if you could hop? You know what I mean?
Why would you hop if you could fly? Grasshoppers.
Well, you said cricket, but now we're on grasshoppers.
They're crazy too.
Then
basically
really they're all bugs and they're all crazy. So he has the right name.
Okay, all right, whatever.
Spiders are crazy. thinking
Spiders
they can
aren't
just
bugs.
come up. Yeah, but they're pretty much a bug because if I swat them with my bug swatter, they die. So that makes them a bug.
If I use them as a whip to beat somebody else, they die. That makes them a snake.
All right, back to the topic.
Well, you're the one that brought up bugs.
I know. So, anyway, he quickly became a prominent player in the whole newly established group because everybody wanted him, so he joined.
Yeah.
Why not? Bugsy,
you know you're going to be at the top.
Right? It's like people are coming to find you to be in this group because they want you that bad. So I'm thinking you have a pretty good chance at life. Bugsy was one of 4 hitmen hired to kill the Sicilian mobster, this is why I think it was important that I think he thought, like, I'll stick with the Italians because there was already a mobster that was Sicilian, and that was Joe the Boss Masserina.
The Boss. Everyone has a better nickname than Bugsy.
Springsteen?
Boss.
Isn't that his nickname?
I don't know.
I think it's funny. But he was one of 4 hitmen hired to do that in 1931.
Did they do it?
I don't think Bugsy did.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't talk much about that, so I was like, oh, maybe that wasn't an accomplishment of his, so they skipped right over it.
He was hired, and then we're not going to talk about that anymore.
But I feel like if you're one of 4 to kill another head of, like, one of the 5 families, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, he was crazy, so it doesn't matter. Let's see, we're skipping forward again, because his life, though interesting, was not very long.
Oh.
In 1937, he relocated his bootlegging and gambling rackets to the West Coast. So he decided to go over and he settled in California. He set up gambling dens and, which this was cool, offshore gambling ships.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cool? I was like, dang.
I mean, they do that now to get around the no gambling laws.
Well, yeah.
You can get
like a
out
cruise,
into...
you could go and gamble.
Yeah.
But he did these purposely. He also consolidated...
you wouldn't want to get caught cheating
on a ship. There's no way to run. I thought that.
Yeah.
I literally thought that when I was writing it down.
Or, like, lose all your money and then... Or not have you. I don't know. Like, you wouldn't want to get in a bad situation gambling when you're on a boat.
When you're trapped.
And it'd be very easy to dispose of a body.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there were sharks. They're off of the West Coast.
Oh my God, we almost got eaten by a shark on our vacation.
I know, but thank
2
God.
50-foot great white sharks.
Oh my gosh. Your mom and dad are going to be like, oh. Well, your mom's the one that started that, but.
It's only 1 12.5-foot shark.
That's so big.
It is a horrible thing.
But you didn't die.
No, I wasn't even in the water. See? I'm the smart daughter.
I think I was listed the favorite daughter in the conversation.
You're not a daughter. You're not one of their kids. My dad can't claim
so
you as
funny
his favorite.
That he does. Oh, okay. Back to not being eaten by sharks.
2 50-foot sharks.
Oh my God. Anyway, he also, his big thing over there was that he consolidated the already existing prostitution, narcotics, bookmaking, everything.
Like, a good organizer.
He did. He just went over there and like pretty much took it all over.
Right.
So because he was making so much money, he was not hurting for cash. He ended up buying a home in Beverly Hills. It was like a big estate home. It was really pretty. Mm-hmm. He lived a very lavish lifestyle.
Sure.
He partied with all the top celebrities back then. They said that they thought that he might want to be an actor too. He was always like rubbing elbows with those types of people.
Right.
He knew my boy Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
I wish I did. Also, in the late 1930s, he began dating Virginia Hill, who was once referred to as the queen of the gangsters.
Oh,
so
well, that's appropriate.
After researching her life, she didn't really have a very exciting life, but she kind of always was in that crime circle.
Right.
So she always knew the gangsters and everything. And then I guess when she met Bugsy,
she was just the only cute girl in the crime circle, so she was the queen.
Described her body as matronly. I can't say that word.
Matronly.
Yeah. And I was like, that's not very, like, nice. I mean, she looked very pretty, like her headshot in the picture, but I was like, that's not very nice. Like, I'm sure they didn't.
Me think like old.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
So I was like, that wasn't very nice to say about her, but okay. But they were both known now because they were like a really cute couple.
They were a power couple.
Oh, definitely.
Literally.
Because they both had their violent nature and their striking good looks is what I like.
Bugsy 1 and Bugsy 2.
Yeah. So they called her Bugsy's baby in this like book. And they, that's why I was like, she must have like some strange hidden things.
B.
Oh my gosh. So that was his little girlfriend. In 1945, moved to Las Vegas, which is where I saw him, not him, but I'll show you a picture of him.
Oh my gosh, it's been many episodes since you brought that up. And I never knew what you were talking. That makes sense.
I know. I'm excited.
The wax thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we took pictures together. He moved to Las Vegas to take over the construction of the Flamingo Hotel and Casino. So the Eastern Crime Syndicate paid for it and just sent it to him for him to be in charge of.
Okay.
Yep. So that was where gambling was going to be.
He is a man of many talents.
I think he just knows how to roll with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think he knows how to act like he knew what he was doing.
Right.
Until he was doing it, because that's kind of what happened.
He can delegate.
Kinda. So this was all supposed to be under his supervision. There was a bunch of, there's a bunch of arguments about how the Flamingo got the name. Some of them said, it was after Virginia because she had long legs. And they were like, actually, no, she had really short, stubby legs. But okay.
She was a little matronly.
Another thing was like, oh, no, they were somewhere and flamingos were meant to be like a good omen. So he liked them. So where we stayed in Vegas was like pretty much like right across from the Flamingo. Mm-hmm. So, or not right across, maybe a little bit down the street. But we walked through there and they really do have like flamingos, like actual living ones that live there.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. But
have you ever seen a baby flamingo?
No.
Oh my God, they're ridiculous.
Like cute or no?
Like so ugly, they're cute.
Aw, okay.
Yeah. And they're not pink yet.
I was about to be like most babies.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that was his thing. He was supposed to supervise the construction for the Flamingo Hotel and Casino. But the problem was they originally budgeted this at $1.5 million to get it going.
Okay.
And the project soon proved to be a big problem because the cost went all the way up to $6 million.
Oh, that is a whole lot more than they budgeted.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So, when it was discovered that it was all because of Bugsy's theft and mismanagement,
that
old pal Langsky was now,
not
pretty much more like
impressed.
he was one of the top dogs on that side now, because he kind of stayed put.
Yeah.
So, he was, like, pissed off and all, like, I want to say like a girl, like, you betrayed me.
Right.
Like, okay, chill out, guy. I wanted to be like, once this casino gets open, believe me, you're going to make all your money back. Like, chill out.
Right.
But I understand the whole problem. And then one more little thing to our 20th episode. He was killed on June 20th, 1947. So Bugsy was brutally murdered when a fusillade of bullets crashed through his big old bay windows in his living room and completely just
obliterated him.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's not very subtle.
Mm-mm. So,
was it
simultaneously, that would be bad. I don't know. 3 of Langsky's cohorts entered the Flamingo and declared a takeover.
We know something you don't know.
Yeah. And they were like, what? So that was just kind of weird that it all happened at the same exact time.
Very well orchestrated, yeah.
So Langsky denied any involvement with the hit.
Of course he did.
And there was little doubt that he was murdered on the syndicate's orders anyways.
Right.
So I think it was more of like a hush thing.
Gotcha.
And the murder is still unsolved today. Isn't that crazy?
I don't feel like it's unsolved. I feel like I can solve it.
See, but because I had to shorten this down, because he did a lot in his lifetime, so I kind of went with the major points, that they have so many different routes that this could have been.
It could have been so many people.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, dang, it really could have been. This one just seemed to be the one that fit the most because of what he just did and declared the takeover. Right. That was just all. But really, the only I made a little side note. The only charges he ever like got arrested on were 2 minor offenses. He was accused of doing everything from murder, obviously, and rape and stealing, obviously, and like everything horrible you can imagine.
Yeah.
But he never got arrested for those.
Right.
He got charged with gambling and vagrancy and placing bets illegally. But then in 1941, they did arrest him for one murder of Harry Greenberg, which was like one of like that whole underworld figure.
Okay.
Then he spent some time in jail, but the charges were dropped when the key witness mysteriously died.
Gee, what a surprise.
So I was thinking, well, yeah, they tried to get you one time and you had the person killed. They probably didn't even bother arresting you ever again.
He's untouchable.
Yep. So every time he got put in jail, he always just paid himself out.
Yeah.
He didn't have to wait.
Right.
But yeah, so that was my little short. There's so much more to him. So if you're interested by anything I said, please read up on him. He is pretty great.
Do you think there's a book about him?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think there's a book on Audible about him?
Oh, I'm so sure.
Well, I'm going to look it up right now.
He was so famous that he was in the Wax Museum in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a main event thing at the Mob Museum there.
Yeah.
And like so is like Lucky Luciano and like all these guys I was talking about. I mean, there's a million more.
Okay, so there are at least 3 books about Bugsy on audible.com.
Yeah.
So if this is really something that you want to hear more about, audibletrial.com/crime crazy will get you one of these books downloaded, a 30-day trial. It'll help sponsor our show. You should definitely check that out.
Yes.
I actually have a couple of credits. I might have to... Oh, probably not this one that's the Spanish edition, though.
I mean, unless
I want to learn Spanish and then read it. Yeah, I'm not fluent. Why Bugsy Siegel was a friend of mine. Or Siegel. Bugsy Siegel? Is that how we're saying it? Okay. Why Bugsy Siegel was a friend of mine. Isn't that the one that you just saw?
Siegel? I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Why Bugsy was a friend of mine.
Blank.
So cool.
Yeah.
I have one more story. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about it.
Okay.
I called it Nala is a Lion. Come on, guys. Everyone knows that. Because it's about a tiger named Nala.
Oh. All right. I understand your title now. I would probably name it the same thing. Like, all right, guys.
What is wrong with you?
You uncultured swine.
So this story is great for a couple reasons. 1, it's about a tiger.
Okay.
And 2, one of the characters in it, her name is Erin Poole.
That's you.
That's me. It was me.
Oh, it was
used
you.
to be me.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was reading it and I'm like, what?
I didn't do this.
I
don't remember this.
I swear I would have known.
That's funny.
So, April 21st, 2016, a tiger is found wandering around a neighborhood in Conroe, Texas. So, imagine this, okay? Mm-hmm. These 2 people, Jonathan Gessner and Erin Poole, are driving around in their car in their neighborhood, like they're probably headed home or maybe headed out. And all of a sudden, this is how Erin described it. She says, I see something run into the bushes. It was really big. And Jonathan hopped out of the car and was like, I'm going to catch it.
Oh my God. I'd be like, get your ass back in this
car. So he chased the tiger and grabbed its leash, and it ran up to him. Oh my God. And it started kissing him in the face and licking him.
Okay, so clearly it was like a friendly pet that got out.
Yes. Thankfully. I mean, I guess it had a collar and a leash on, so maybe he felt a little safer about it.
I would not.
No way. And
if I saw a bear with a collar and a leash, I would go running up to the bear.
I wouldn't go up to a big dog with a collar and a leash, or even a medium-sized dog. You like...
You
maybe
just don't run up to
there
animals.
And call it.
That's how you end up on when animals attack. And whose fault is that? You. There's actually a new show just like that called I Was Prey.
Oh my God.
I'm going to be like, you are dumb. That's what this is. When I was stupid. A story of how I ran up to a freaking tiger.
I was telling David this story like maybe last night or something. And he says, so... Jonathan jumped out and said, I'm going to catch it. That's sort of the equivalent of, here, hold my beer.
Oh. Yes, that is exactly what that is.
So Tiger comes over. It's licking him on the face. She had a collar, and there had been like flooding in the area. So they determined like maybe she had gotten lost or she'd gotten out or something. And so they wrote a newspaper article about it because, oh my God, how often you get to write an article about a tiger wandering somebody's neighborhood.
Yep.
And the owner came forward. And his name was Cody Tibbetts. And so the tiger's name was Nala. And she was not very old. He had her for 2 weeks. So I think she's probably shorter than your dogs. Or about the size of your dogs.
Does it say how tall she was?
No, I was just looking at pictures of her with people. And like that's what it sort of looked like. I mean, she was bigger, but like...
She was 2 weeks old?
No.
He had her for 2 weeks.
Okay. So basically, what it sounded like had happened is he bought her from somebody. But they didn't have like the paperwork saying they owned her. So he claims he was trying to like backtrack to get to the original owner so that he could make everything legal and he could fill out all the paperwork and everything so he could legally own her. So even though he possessed her and he had paid for her, she wasn't legally his. And it doesn't matter anyway because where they were, you can't own a tiger. Anyway, he said that, well, his original story sort of contradicted his later story. But his original story was he said that he had taken her to a friend's house while they tried to sort out the whole legal thing. Like his friend was going to watch the tiger. I don't know.
Okay.
But then there was flooding in the area and so he had paid somebody to come and get the tiger and transport her back to the person he'd bought her from.
Okay.
Until the flooding had passed and they sorted out the whole ownership thing. So he wasn't like returning her. They were just they were equipped to handle a tiger, presumably.
Oh.
And that at some point, like the guy that was supposed to transport her never showed up, and maybe a gate got left open at the friend's house or something. The tiger got out.
Yeah.
And then the tiger's wandering around in this neighborhood.
Probably just exploring.
Yeah. So later he says that it was while he was taking the tiger to his friend's house that she escaped. So it was kind of like... that story doesn't quite make sense. I think he was just trying to stay out of trouble for illegally owning a tiger.
Yeah.
So either way, it doesn't matter. So they took her to the shelter. When he came forward to claim her, I think he actually got custody of her back for a little bit, but then he was told you're going to have to turn the tiger over. So he surrendered her. And then the judge ordered that like that surrender was valid. Like they said, he abandoned her, but really it just means like he gave up his ownership of her, I guess. And so the court awarded the shelter temporary custody until they could find an exotic animal shelter that could actually take care of her. Because it's not like a dog. You can't just place it with somebody else. So they finally found a place that she could go. And the day they were going to transfer her, just a couple of hours before they were going to transfer her, it was a Wednesday, a masked man breaks into the shelter. And there's video footage of him. And he's running all throughout the shelter. He's got giant bolt cutters in his hand. And like he's looking in all the doors. So he's looking for this tiger. And they were like, well, he couldn't have been searching for drugs or money or anything like that. Like he's just running down the hall looking for something big and orange. And they also got some footage of his like getaway car, which is this little tiny silver sedan. So I guess he was just gonna ride in the car with a tiger. Like you couldn't even put a cage in there. I don't know what he was thinking. So he doesn't ever find her. And then he got away. And they did determine that it definitely wasn't Tibbetts that broke in. Like, it was a totally different, like, body type.
Someone else just wanted it?
Someone must have heard there was a tiger there and was like, I'm going to go steal a tiger from this facility because they're not equipped to hide. I don't know.
Something that could kill me, potentially.
Right. Who steals a tiger? So that's my story. I thought it was hilarious, and I would have loved to be the one who's like just casually driving to Walmart and
then
there's a tiger.
That's so funny.
And they had to have ended up with it in their car. Like if it came up and it was kissing the guy, Jonathan or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
They were like, come get in the car, kitty, kitty,
You're
kitty.
Like, come here. Like cracking open a can of tuna.
Right. Yeah.
I cannot believe that.
She was super cute. She was really, really cute.
Well, yeah, I'm sure she was cute. That's
she's still like baby fluffy. All right, so that's my story.
That was cute. And you were in it.
And I was in it, and no one died. And there's a tiger.
Oh, yeah. That was cute.
So,
good note to end on.
Yes, very positive.
But now it's announcement time.
It is. We have all kinds of things, actually. So, I guess we'll just do our like social media and all that first.
Okay. So, obviously we already talked about the sticker giveaway.
Yep. And you can send those pictures on anything. Like if you are on Twitter, do it on Twitter. If you're on Instagram, do it on Instagram. If you want to go on Facebook.
So if you tag us on Facebook, we have a page and a group. So if you're a part of either of those, you could post it right to the page. Group, post it on your own and tag us on it.
Sure.
Even if you do the hashtag, it'll still work on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So that is, that's obvious. Twitter and Instagram, you could tag us. It's at Crime Crazy Pod. Mm-hmm. And then that'll definitely pop right up for us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And then if you wanted to email us a challenge or a story or, I don't know, tell us how wonderful we are, something to boost our ego. No. You can write to crimecrazypodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can also get to all of this just by going to crimecrazypodcast.com.
Oh, yeah.
And everything is linked there.
That's true.
So, one-stop shopping. So there's that. And then we have a shout out to Angelica Bauer, who left us a very nice comment on YouTube that you read.
Well, I had to find it. It was hard to find.
Yeah.
It won't show me on the YouTube page, but I had to go to our email to find it.
Right.
So, guys, if this ever happens, just give us a little time so we can find it.
Right. Or just email us and say, hey,
I said this. Here, go find it. But it was very nice. Learn.
So YouTube is sort of hit or miss, but I was putting all of our episodes up there, but they weren't really getting a whole lot of traffic, and it was taking a long time. So I stopped doing it, and as soon as I stopped doing it, then Podbean, who we use for hosting, started doing it automatically. And so there may be episodes up on YouTube. So feel free to look for us
she commented on episode 18. So really.
So then that was, the last one, well, the 2 ago.
Yeah.
That I put up. Okay. And then finally, we are part of a really exciting thing.
Yes.
So there is a campaign called 2 Pods a Day. And we're participating in it. And basically, its aim is to introduce podcast listeners to 2 independent podcasts every day for a month. And the next time they're running it, they did one. The next one is in August. So by the time this episode comes out, it'll be like a week away.
Yeah.
And so they highlight 2 podcasts a month. Their hope is to give visibility to some great indie podcasts that you probably haven't heard of, just to kind of expand the reach of all of the podcasts like ours. So if you like our podcast and you would like to find more shows like ours, you can go to hashtag 2 Pods a Day on Twitter or Facebook and get more information on all of that. So we will be working with them. We're doing some reviews. We're going to be tweeting out some stuff about them and supporting other podcasts. So far, we've gotten to listen to some podcasts that are going to be in this campaign.
Yeah, which were really fun to listen to.
They were fantastic. We were cracking up. They were great.
Some were more serious. Others were hilarious.
Right.
It was a good mixture.
There was some true crime. There was some not true crime.
Yeah. So, it was great.
It was great. So definitely check that out because it's a great way to just find a bunch of new things and kind of get a little taste of everything.
Yep.
So, more information coming on that. And I feel like that might be it.
I think it is it. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Erin. I got to pee, so we got to wrap this up.
Okay.
So I'm shaking my leg.
Happy 20th.
Yes, happy. That's so exciting. I should have baked us a cake.
All right. But even so, don't get on next week's episode.
Please don't, because I haven't researched it yet. So you might be my story.
Oh, my God. Till next week. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Crime Crazy. We hope that you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed making it. If you like our show, please tell a friend, or better yet, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or your favorite podcasting app. We really appreciate your feedback and want to give you a shout out on the next episode if you leave us a review. If you leave us a review somewhere other than iTunes, just let us know. If you loved our show, consider donating to our Patreon. We have lots of great surprises that we want to share with anyone who supports us. And let's be real, it's really just an excuse to send you cool stuff. Thanks again, and remember, even though we really have no idea what we're talking about, we'll be back next week to talk about it all over again.